GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to bold we got where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 231. I'm Terry Lynn. To my left, your right. Today, wearing a full set of Star Trek Online Omega armor, plus Klingon batleths, and the Thagomizer tail in the back. It's Ceridium.
Yeah. Kapla.
Woohoo!
The tail goes with everything.
I know. You get the Thagomizer tail. We were just discussing the You know what a Thagomizer tail is?
Nope.
Do you ever remember the Far Side with the caveman?
Oh yeah, Thag. Yeah, with the spikes.
With the spikes on the end of the dinosaur's tail that were named after the late Thag Simmons, the Thagomizer.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
And to my left, your right. Today, back in her judge's robes and fuzzy slippers, it's Jespa.
Good morning. It's transformative, folks.
The slippers make the woman.
They're very comfortable.
And today, across the Charlie Rose table, all geared up to help us with the 5450, it's Kajiro Vance.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all?
Yay.
Welcome.
We're good.
Thank you.
We got a lot to talk about today. I know that we started a little bit late. We're still waiting on Nick. Hopefully he'll be able to join us. He is probably recovering from, well, I don't know what he'd have to recover from. It's us that has to get to the point of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start off the coffee clutch with what the fuck did we do this week? And I can tell you that.
What did you do this week? Coffee Clutch.
On Friday, April 1st, much like we kind of thought might happen, we had a wonderful.
Do you hear my teeth grinding?
Yeah. Yeah, we were taken for a ride, my dear. We were taken for a long, slow ride.
Slow. I was on a bobsled. On the bobsled track to hell. Come on.
Yeah, we got taken in. Both, well, I don't know. I think Jespa, you probably were far more critical of the idea of it. You kept your mouth shut.
I'm a natural skeptic, basically. I don't trust anybody. I don't know who the hell you people are.
We had a live show on Friday featuring our wonderful friends, Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore, both of whom are amazing Star Trek authors and novelists, and they have books that are coming out and all sorts of really cool stuff. Well, for the past few weeks, they've been pitching to us that they've had a project that they couldn't announce until April 1st, which, of course, we all knew going in, and I had been talking about time and again, was it's April 1st. You guys are going to try to pull the wool over our eyes. Well, they did. So both Mike and I were actually pretty excited for the idea that maybe Dayton and Kevin were pegged to help write the book for a Star Trek musical. And then they started to talk about the music that would be involved. And
I still think that was an awesome idea.
It's still an awesome idea, I tell you. I think it is. And that was already proven by the musical that was already done. Where was that? In Las Vegas? Or I think it was. Was it in Las Vegas? Or it might have been in Orange County, California. But I thought, that'd be great. Just do a rock opera of Star Trek. It'd probably work.
About Spock's life and have him, with his lyra. Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. It works.
It would have been awesome. It was fun. But when they started talking about the music that they got the rights to do the show, and then they got to a certain group, and I was like, oh, motherfuckers. So yeah, that was when I realized it was all one big April Fool's joke.
Janet?
Yes.
As my legal counsel for all things Axonar, please inform Mr. Minetti that I am no longer speaking to him.
Under the advice of my counsel, Mr. Medeiros has decided to remain silent at this moment, which is his right, Mr. Minetti.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That'll be $500. PayPal is fine.
PayPal is fine. Oh my God. Too funny. So,
If you weren't such a fish, you wouldn't have been hooked.
I still want to launch a Kickstarter and get this thing made. And I was thinking, if we can get like the guys from Enterprise Blues Band to like do it, because they're already musically inclined, and
You're thinking about this way too much now.
I think they'd be good sports. And I can totally see Matt Grodenchik, reprising the role of Christine Chapel.
Jesus Christ.
oh yeah. So we got taken for a ride. It was fun though. It was really fun. Hey, that's cool. So Mike, what did you do this week other than what we did on Friday?
It's been a little crazy. I can't think of anything because Friday just kind of eclipsed it all.
Yeah.
It was such a great interview, and that was even before we got to the craziness that was April Fool's. I was enjoying all of the April Fool's jokes that I was seeing online. My absolute favorite, and I want this in my life, is ThinkGeek's white noise generator.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh my God. That thing, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's from TNG, the Moriarty hollow matrix generator thingy that they trap him in after he tries to take over the ship for like the umpteenth time. Yeah, and then it's an alarm clock, and it projects like the warp field on your ceiling. It's like, I need that in my life.
It was pretty cool. Although I think the Star Wars lollipops are the ones that are.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that'll probably be real.
Another good one that I liked was Hamburger Helper. They actually released a rap album.
I myself, my favorite April Fool's was the Quilted Northern.
Oh, that was good.
The Quilted Northern handcrafted toilet paper.
Yeah, I love.
Oh yeah. It was kind of artisanal.
At the end of the video, the lady comes in and she's all
uncomfortable
into her chair and just shifting uncomfortable.
And it comes in different it comes in different weaves. It was like the artisanal weave, and then one of them was like virgin birch, and it was just a fucking log. It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
It's
so
organic.
well done. What was that, Alan? Oh, I thought Alan said something.
Oh, I had said it's organic.
Oh yeah. Oh, too funny. Too funny. And what about you, Ms. Jespa?
Well, somebody had to read 100 pages of fucking legal documents and report on them. But I also had homework. This morning it's a winter fucking wonderland out there. So when we're done, I have to shovel snow.
Oh, we got a little bit of snow on April 1st, but not like that. Just a little bit. But I'm sorry, and yet. It's still kind of cool.
It's you live in New England. This is what happens.
And Kojiro.
Yes.
What did you do this week?
Oh, let's see. I worked. Seems to be the story of my life lately. And that's about all I got to say.
All right.
Not much going on. My life is pretty dull.
No. Oh, it's been a little rough lately, I admit. Just work.
That's true. Nothing we need to go into here.
Work. Hello, boys. And those who are late do not get fruit cup.
Totally.
I have pie.
Those who are tardy will not get fruit
I want to know the reason why you were late, Mr. Minetti.
Because I slept through my alarm.
God damn it! I hate when he's all honest. I wanted a better
because
excuse.
I was in a DeLorean and I went back in time and I just got back from that and I'm being chased by Libyan terrorists.
There
You
you
had
go.
lost her keys.
Chased by Libyan terrorists in a Volkswagen van.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And they knocked over the photo mat.
Time travel is not an excuse. You could have set the timer a little bit ahead and come back a little sooner.
If I had known at the time that I would have the time with the time, I wouldn't have been timey.
Why me?
Huh?
I hate time travel.
Is this a Braga episode?
No. Oh, hey, speaking of time.
That's
Yes.
something I did this week. Go ahead.
So, Terry,
Yeah.
I watched, and Alan, I watched Goblet of Fire, David Tennant. That was a surprise to me.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Little bastard that he is.
He was very, very not Doctor Who-ish.
Right. He's very creepy in that. How did you enjoy it? Because it's such a big book, they had to cut a lot out of the movie.
Yes, that was the thing. Cutting out the whole Dobby, giving him the grass.
Yeah.
And everything. There was a whole lot of things, and I understood why they had to do it.
Yeah.
It was like the first quarter of it, some of the things were condensed in, but once they got in, then it seemed like it was pretty much along the way.
Yeah. From now on, because the books get bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to cut a lot out of the films, but they do a very, very good job. And the one thing was that I have the studio credit for is, JK was on deck for all of the films. So the writers had like an open source to her to say, what can we cut without losing what it is? And she would tell them, you can't cut that out because that's important to the end of the story. You can't cut that out because that's important. But this, and this, they don't get to the ultimate end of the stories. You can cut that. So she was the person who had direct control over what could be cut. And that actually helps the movies quite a bit.
Well, I thought it was an interesting choice instead of Dobby to use Neville, considering what I just read in Order of the Phoenix of Neville's growth. So it kind of fit using him as the moody, not how I pictured him.
Yeah, he was different, but he's great in the movies.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's great in the movies.
And so I just started Half-Blood Prince yesterday, and not really enjoying that first chapter where somebody's talking with the sisters.
Be careful who you align with.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no kidding. This is the second war has begun, so shit's getting real now, babe. I love it that Nick is reading Harry Potter. I'm having just the time of my life kind of reliving the books through him. It's just so much fun. All right. Well, we do have a ton of stuff to get to, and
I did have one more thing.
Oh,
maybe Mike, I'm sending you a message because I'm gonna. Go ahead, chatter among yourselves.
chat. He has one more thing that apparently we can't talk about.
Where?
Well, I'm sending it to you here on TeamSpeak.
Okay.
Well, I want to get to, first and foremost, we will get to Axanar because some news did occur this week with Axanar, and that was a second motion to dismiss, which will be addressed by our lovely Jespa. So hang tight. But before we get to the unofficial production news, I do want to get to a few things beforehand, just because, as far as I'm concerned, they're more important. They're more important to me, so that's all that matters.
Tell me a Star Trek story. Book news.
This week, some book news did come out, and I think it's really, really cool. And that is Pocket's offering now pretty much the entire Star Trek bibliography that are free of digital rights markers. You can download all of these ebooks now. You still have to buy them. These aren't for free. You still have to buy them. But their entire 700 plus library of Star Trek books are now available for you to be able to purchase and download and then use on any device. So you don't have to go to iBooks to buy your iPad books. You don't have to go to Amazon to get your Kindle. You don't have to go to, if Nook is even left, Barnes & Noble. And you can download these books directly from Pocket and then read them on any device and then reload them on any device. And this is really, for me, I think it's spectacular news. And a lot of it's because they withdrew and did not have any of the Starfleet Corps of Engineers books available for a very long time. The idea that they're all available now just makes me so damn happy. So good news. A lot of those too, StarTrekBooks.com, they do have 99-cent deals as well. So, yeah.
If I've checked this out a little bit, and it's a little weird. You're not downloading the books, at least not as a respective file. So that's how they're able to offer it DRM free. But you're being contained to a specific app. From GLOSE, GLOSE. The app is viewable through a web browser. You can download it for I believe, and I know you can get it on Android. You can also get it, I believe, on iTunes. So that pretty much covers every potential device out there. You're basically reading it through this app or through this service, and that they control the all of the ebooks. So you're not actually you're not physically downloading a file. You can't transfer it to another device. You're locked into this service, from what I can tell. And playing with it on my device, the service is still rather limited. For instance, one of the things that Dayton had mentioned that is the ability to resize text and whatnot. Yeah, it's there, but it has two settings: normal and just a little bit bigger. One thing that is kind of interesting is that they do it is social, so you can quite literally comment on something that you've read, and for everyone that's online at the time, it becomes these almost like footnotes for whatever page you're looking at. All of a sudden you can tap a paragraph or a line, and it'll show you how many comments relating to that are available, and you can choose to view them at that time and participate in conversations with people all over the world that happen to be reading the book right at the same time you are. So it's kind of unique in that way. But yeah, so that's my experiences so far with it.
I'm not getting that jibe, and I know I'm going through it right now, so we'll see how this works out. Just because I thought because it's not asking me to. All right, well, we'll deal with that later. Yeah, I'll look into it because I'm getting it straight through Simon and Schuster.
Yeah, but when you actually try to actually read any of the books, or actually physically locate where the books are, that's where you're going to end up being taken to the Glouse site.
So it sits on, it's like a cloud.
Yes, it's on the cloud, and it's basically the book becomes available through Glouse. So whether
you access Glouse through any device.
Yeah, whether it's through a browser, which is universal, or through the Glouse app on Android or iOS or whatever device you happen to have.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah. 99-cent book ebooks, though, that's a good deal. So
and it's still the one place that you can go get these books that aren't available anywhere else. I mean, the one thing is that, again, I didn't start getting back into Star Trek until they decided to kind of nix the Starfleet Corps of Engineer books. And I only got to read like one or two of them, and then they all went away, and nobody carried them anymore. So
I'm thinking about checking them out, yeah.
See what they're at. And also to follow up with the wonderful conversation, April Fool's Day joke aside, Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore got to talk a little bit about the books that they're working on for the 50th anniversary. They are the anchor duo for the trilogy, the TOS trilogy that is going to be released, and their book comes out in September. What else have we got going on there?
Well, Dayton Ward and Kevin, they've been asked. You recall last year they were invited by NASA to speak about the role of Star Trek.
Yes.
Well, it looks like the Linda Hall Library in Kansas City, they have asked them to pretty much to come and do the same thing.
Neat.
So apparently this is a big deal. It only happens like every so often. So they're going to be talking, according to the program, of Tribbles and Technology, Star Trek F50. So that'll be Saturday, May 14th. So if you're in the Kansas City area and want to heckle Dayton and Kevin, wow, where did that come from?
James and Kipley, David and Kevin, Dayton and Kevin, same guys.
There's too many
All
dynamic duos. So yeah,
and then there's James.
there's James.
Kipley.
So bad. It's so stupid.
Moving right along, folks.
Well, that's cool. Congrats to both of them. I think that's very cool.
Hi, Janet.
Good morning. What's up?
How are you?
A little tired, to be honest with you.
Were you under the pattern last night?
I was under a blanket of freaking snow.
That's crazy.
It's not that bad, actually. It was coming down kind of sideways for a while there. Now it seems to have eased off. It's really only about 1 or 2 inches.
I got to tell you guys, I literally got scared last night.
Oh?
We had 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah.
And at one point I looked out the window and there was an old lady on a bike pedaling by in the air.
Oh, no.
Was there a small terrier in a basket behind her?
Yes.
That's troubling. You should call PETA for that.
What was really scary was the skywriting that said, "Surrender Getty."
And I said, "Designers, I'm just doing fine. Thank you so much."
Back to book news.
Workers of the world unite.
There is a wonderful book that looks like it's coming out in June. It's hard to read for the picture. It's kind of stupid, but it's there it is. The Star Trek book, Strange New Worlds, Boldly Explained. This is a book to celebrate the 50 years of Star Trek, including, oddly enough, it says here, perfect for fans of the TV series, but it also will include information on the films, including the new JJ films. So that's very cool. It is an all-encompassing celebration of Star Trek. Hey, who's that?
What?
I just sounded like a little child in the background. I said, yay. It's Janet. How could yay?
Wow. See, this is what happens when you drop acid like Tic Tacs before the show.
We have slight problems here. Moving along.
Let's see.
Mike's beard is on fire.
No, it's not.
It's melting.
Live by the code, Mikey.
That looks like
doesn't it?
That cover is just
so beautiful.
Wow. It's an Andorian ship flying up and 2 Klingon birds of prey flying down. It's a Star Trek Enterprise Rise of the Federation novel. And so I have a feeling it's got Klingons and it's got Andorians, and I'm just...
Klingons, Andorians, and Tellarites. Oh my!
Oh my!
Well, I don't know about about Tellarites. Come on now. Let's be realistic here. Chances are it's got a Vulcan and a bunch of humans, though.
It's very cool. This is the new Star Trek Enterprise novel written by Christopher L. Bennett, Rise of the Federation series that he is currently working on. The book is now out and available for purchase at your favorite booksellers. $7.99 for a mass market paperback. And the cover is gorgeous. It really is. It's an Andorian escort kind of slipping through to, I'm you know what I mean.
I had an Andorian escort once. It took me a month to recover.
You turned blue, right?
Oh, why'd you go blue?
Oh my God. And the cover is done by Doug Drexler. It's so beautiful.
That is awesome.
It really is.
Drexler? That bastard owes me money.
He does not.
And apparently you can pick it up at StarTrekBooks.com.
That is true. That's the one I'm trying to purchase right now.
Right on.
It is. And that's kind of it for the book news. Not a lot. Let's see. We'll get to. We're going to get to some other news first. I want to start, and we'll talk about that. And let's do the product news now because it makes me happy.
I need more Star Trek stuff. Product news.
I am happy to say that I was a little jealous when Star Wars came out with like Star Wars makeup because some of the colors were actually kind of cool. But I have to say I'm far more excited about the Star Trek makeup that just came out. And CBS Products announced this week that MAC or MAC makeup will be doing a set of Star Trek inspired makeup for a 25-piece special deco collection. Will have looks like lips, eyes, and nails. Also some blushes and some other kinds of makeup. Now they're going to
It's green.
It's really cool. Some of these shades are very, very cool. The entire line will be released for San Diego Comic-Con, so the MAC collection will be there. But the system or the set itself will not be available widely until September, which kind of bums me out. I was hoping I would be able to see it at STLV, but it's not going to be there. But they're going to be making their world premiere at San Diego Comic-Con, and pre-sale will be done there on July 21st in the gas lamp. And I got that wrong last week. I apologize. I said gaslight last week, and it's not. It's gas lamp.
Yes, we've been corrected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our pricks listening to us never miss a thing.
They're Trek fans. Of course they don't.
I'm just happy that there's green in it in the collection. I mean that's awesome.
Alrighty, let's move on. The TNG. This is cool. This is something I've actually been waiting for. Complete original series and the next generation Blu-ray sets are coming in June. You no longer are forced to buy every single season individually. I only have 1 or 2 seasons on Blu-ray for TNG, so the thought I could buy it just the whole damn series is nice, which also means that the price is probably coming down. So the next generation Blu-ray set will be about $200. And the TNG, about $200, when the DVD set is actually going to be $144. So for $50, $60 more, you get a Blu-ray. The complete series of the original series on Blu-ray will be $100. So not too bad. But I am glad that they're packaging it all in one. And if you don't need the Blu-ray or you don't want the Blu-ray, you can still purchase the complete series of the next gen on DVD, and that'll be $144.
But the Blu-ray is are both of them remastered, or is it just?
Yes.
Okay, so they have like the extended version of some of those episodes and whatnot.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, no kidding. Mike already touched upon the Star Trek White Noise Sleep Machine, which of course
I want it in my life.
Jerry?
I'm laughing. Sorry, no, I clicked on something and then I got taken to it. I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm like, what did I click on? I got lost. I'm sorry, guys. Is the April Fool's joke that Think Geek came out with this week, one of 3 or 4. But as we all know, Think Geek always makes one of their products real. And I know a lot of Star Trek fans really wanted to have this White Noise Sleep Machine. And I personally think it'll end up being the Star Trek Ice Pops that'll get
Star Wars
made. Oh, I'm sorry, Star Wars. Thank you.
I think that's racist.
It's still showing that's for sale. I mean, normally don't they take them down or take them off of their shopping cart by now?
I'm not sure. I think they do like a whole little vote thing, or
You know, it would be the best April Fool's joke
What?
that all 3 of them become actual products.
I mean,
cool.
one of my concerns about this is how complex it is. I mean, it's got electronics, and it's got projector, and it's got all of this stuff going on with it. So that's my concern. Why
It's not going to be made, Mikey. What? What are you getting all huffy for?
No, I'm just... Don't you remember when we had toys that were like that, quote, complex when we were kids, though? I don't know. See, Comic Book Men has been never mind. It's just that when
I was
so
a kid, our only toy was a stick, and we liked it.
Excuse me, you had a dreidel.
Oh my God, we were watching Star Wars Rebels last night, and one of the toys is this bubble wobble. Have you seen these things?
No.
These bubbles, and they're kind of stretchy, and you can blow them up really, really big, and they don't really pop. But one of the things you can do is you can buy small portable cans of helium to inject them with to blow the balloons up with, so they kind of float midair. And I looked at Alan and I said, "Oh, that's not dangerous. Small portable cans of helium."
We need that for the convention.
You know, like compressed air or canned air. They have that size canned helium now.
We need that for the convention.
That's what I was going to say. Oh my God.
If you thought sniffing glue as a kid was bad, wait till you have the sniffing helium.
Whippets.
Oh my God.
There'll be a bunch of kids running around going, "Hi."
Talking like Pee-wee.
I meant to do that.
It was very funny. Mike, where did you get the Spock duck? Where did this come from?
I found it on April Fool's. I don't know if it's a real thing or not. But I had come across it when I was looking for April Fool's jokes, because that's what I do. Is on April Fool's I go looking for this stuff, and I came across it was a link to Amazon for a Celebriducks Mr. Squawk rubber duck costume Quacker bath toy. So it's a rubber duck in a Spock costume, but it's like. It's pretty cool, but I don't know if it's real or not.
They have an Elvis Presley duck.
There's
oh my
also
God, is that a Jerry Garcia duck?
There's a Yoda and a Terminator, and there's all kinds of.
Oh my God, Galaxy Quest. Too funny. Oh my goodness. All right.
Do you see the Rocky Horror?
We are
Frankenfurter.
I know. We need to, because Janet has a lot to talk about. We need to move on.
Sorry.
No.
I made something Star Trek. Unofficial Productions.
I just need to say this. When I was reading the blog, I was reading it in her voice, and it just made me so happy.
I've only gone through half of it. I'm sorry.
No.
God damn, Mike. What have you been doing?
I'm kind of busy yesterday.
Too busy for this?
He was kind of busy yesterday.
Tending to Bucklebeak and your flaming salamanders is not an excuse, Hagrid.
Oh my goodness.
I really need to read the books. I don't get these references.
Oh my God, Mike.
You know what? Right now. Do it. We'll wait.
We'll wait.
Google
Go.
Hagrid.
We'll wait.
And look at the image.
And trust me when we say we mean this with love, because you really are a lot like him.
Yeah, you are.
You are a very amazing, sweet, lovable person, and so amazing. Okay.
Thanks.
Did you Google for the image?
No, not yet.
Do it. We'll wait.
So
why are we getting water moccasin G.I. Joe Cobra in the chat room?
I don't know.
The toys Matthew Anderson played.
Oh,
with.
Complex Toys.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, but
we thought they were
even that
we thought they were
though.
complex. They just broke in 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'll tell you what was complex. Do you remember? Now, Terry, you might have been a little bit too old for this. When Star Wars came and they had this. Remember? You had the Star Wars action figures like that G.I. Joe there.
Mm-hmm.
The Death Star. It was like 3 levels, and it had the trash compactor and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was. My toys were, again, they were dolls, and I was way into horses. I was horse riding at the time, and so I had 200 Breyer horses. So
what are
the
those?
horse models.
I remember them. Yeah, I had a few of those myself.
Were those like the horses that nothing moved on? They were
they were just models. Yeah, I had like 200 of them.
Are you serious? Wow.
And then I packed them up and I put them in the garage when I got a little older.
I'm hearing
that song
from Toy Story.
And he threw them all away. Do you know how much those fuckers are worth right now?
Oh my God, I'm hearing the song from Toy Story 2.
Oh, you have no idea. I cried. I think I was 18 or 19 years old, and I found out he threw those away, and I cried. I was so upset. Yeah.
Terry, was it you I said it to? That Neville? Yeah, it was. That in Order of the Phoenix, Neville is brave like Woody and Buzz in Toy Story 3. Yes. I drew a comparison from Harry Potter straight through to Toy Story. Dude, I cried in Toy Story 3. When they were heading towards that fire, they were the bravest little heroes ever.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right.
Anybody who laughs at me for that can suck it.
Axanar.
Yes.
Before we get to that.
Oh, God.
No. Since you didn't ask what I did this week, I was going to tell you.
I did ask what you did this week.
I wrote a script.
Oh, God.
No. Listen. It's about a superhero from Canada. Now, Canada's not copyrightable, so I can use that. It's almost impossible for him to die. And if you go back through time, that's a long-standing thing, so that's not copyrightable. He's got like claws, which, throughout time, people with special powers, it's copyrightable. And he's called Wolverine, which is the name of an animal, so it's not copyrightable.
Which I'm sure.
I'm just following what I've read.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Oh,
what?
Only Mike could find that picture of Hagrid.
What? Where?
Which one? I put 2 of them in there.
The one with the gangsta Hagrid.
The hip. The
that is too funny.
Swagged out Hagrid.
That's too funny.
But now you see why we call you Hagrid, Mike?
Oh, I've seen the movies. I know who Hagrid is. I just didn't get the reference that you were making to, what was it, salamanders and what else?
Oh, okay. We get it. You haven't read the book, so you don't know what kind of animals he's the caregiver for.
I just remember Fluffy, and wasn't Fluffy like a dragon or something?
Fluffy was awesome.
But Fluffy was in the movie, so...
No, Fluffy was the 3-headed dog.
That's right.
No! Yeah, that's right. Fluffy was the 3-headed dog. Norbit.
Norbit
was the dragon.
He was the dragon.
the pissy dragon. Oh, ain't he beautiful?
All right.
Hey,
Axanar.
Nick. Hey, before you do that, hey, Nick, on that whole Canada superhero idea.
Janet, you want to just go to a different room? We'll talk there.
What's that?
Well, why don't, since Axanar isn't really, making a movie right at the moment, the true fans of Axanar, like us, we should do a fan film of Axanar ourselves.
Oh, very interesting.
Do our own Kickstarter and raise money for that. And
Axanar like you've never seen it?
Yeah, I think we could do an Axanar film, the best Axanar film ever. We could, and I think we should do that. And I don't think they'll mind if we do that.
But
no.
But here's the thing: is I really just want to make sure that as we do take in money, that really, as much as I would love to make an Axanar fan film, that what I really would like more is for us to build our own studio, so we could actually make like G.I. Joe knockoff films.
There you go.
And
there you go. And you know what?
Create
if
our own
we get a lot of money, let's take salaries.
And then we could write our own books, but we'll tell everybody we're still going to make this Axanar film.
Yeah. I don't think they'll mind. Do you?
I want a convention.
We're going to need to travel around to tell people around this.
Mike's right. And then we'll start a convention.
We need to go to Europe. We need to go to any place that doesn't have an extradition treaty.
Okay, you know what Belize is? Don't even tease about that. Don't even tease about going to...
Don't tease about Belize.
Yeah, I know. I was trying not to say it.
That's their catchphrase for their tourism bureau. Don't tease about Belize.
All right.
That's a great idea, though.
Can I call everybody a hater and a liar?
Of course.
That is a requirement.
Yes.
You do already.
Sold. Sold.
I know. Y'all think Mike is nice. See, you don't know.
Sold American.
Oh.
All right.
So the second motion to dismiss was filed. Janet, can you lead us through this hell?
Okay. All right. Yes, it was hell. This is a lot of shit to read. But anyway, and unfortunately, and I apologize, I wrote about 11,000 words on this damn thing.
Why are you apologizing?
Between the second motion, and there's also a request for judicial notice, and that will be the blog post for that is coming out on Tuesday. And mainly the reason that I delay these things is partly because I want to try to find my typos and if there's anything I missed, but it's also because it gives you some time to read this stuff. It kind of spreads it out.
I had added page breaks.
Yes, I appreciate that, so that people's computers don't crash, because there's lots and lots of pictures, because I give you every page. I give you every page because I have paid for these documents. They are a public record. You have the right to know. You want a copy of these? Have at it. You want to go to Photobucket and copy all this stuff? Download it? Awesome. Do it. You have the right to know. You are the public. You absolutely have the right to know, and nobody should be suppressing this from you. These are public documents. Now, I have some stuff I'm going to show you from Photobucket. Like what we did last time, I would really appreciate it if people didn't put stuff in the chat room just so you can see this. But before I do that, one of the things I want to talk about that comes from this second motion is they made many of the same claims. So I don't want to go into those again, because we kind of went over them. But one of the things they talked about was there was a set of characters that the defense claims are not unique enough, that they're not distinctive enough, and basically that they're not memorable enough. So before I get into that list of characters, I want to throw out a few names, sort of a little quickie trivia quiz. Please do not Google these. These are just some names from the Star Trek IP. Tell me if you know who these people are.
Are you asking us?
Yeah,
and then listeners
can answer this. Number one, Kevin Riley. Who's that?
Oh, he was with Kirk on the planet with the guy the mass murderer.
Take me home again, Kathleen.
Exactly. He was in one episode.
2.
All right.
2.
Okay. No, thank you. But still, limited experience on the show, but immediately everybody knew who he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, who's B'Etor?
Say again?
Who's B'Etor?
Oh, that's Mike's next wife.
Lursa's sister.
Yes. Again, somebody not seen very much and probably doesn't have too much of a distinctive personality, when you really dig into this character. But we still knew exactly who that was immediately. Who's Seska?
Oh my God.
Seska is a dream.
She's the Cardassian double crosser in Voyager.
She was one of the better villains for Voyager.
Actually, she was, yeah.
How many episodes was she in? Certainly less than a dozen, right?
I'm going to say 4 to 6.
Less than 10.
Yeah. Once again,
I think she was like a minor character in the early first season, and then when she became the villain, she popped up like 5 times.
Episodes where she had a line or two, and then the big turn happened, and then she came back maybe 2 or 3 times with the Kazon.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's D. Chang? The letter D as in dog. Who's D. Chang?
That's Enterprise. Wasn't he the sergeant on Mako?
That's right. This guy was in, I don't know, I want to say about 5 episodes. He probably had maybe a half a dozen lines when all told. You know who he was? Immediately. The point I'm making is the defense is trying to set up black and white. They're trying to say you're either a major character, like Kirk and Spock, or you are so minor that nobody knows who the fuck you are. And that there's nothing in between. There's no shade of gray. And that's not a reference to the episode or to the books. But that's not true, because you just proved that there's plenty of people who are maybe not top billing, maybe don't have a regular contract, but we've seen them enough. We know who they are. Now I'm going to give you this list of who they pulled out and put into their motion and said these characters were not distinctive enough for anybody to know who the hell they were.
Can we try and figure out how we know them?
You'll know how you know them. Let me find them first in my little list here. Number 1, Garth of Izar.
Please.
I swear they listed him.
Seriously?
Yes, they did.
They want to make a movie about somebody that they say is not important at all.
Well, yes, they do, but they're saying he's not important, so they can say that their defense is these aren't really important enough to have that somebody shouldn't care that they have a copyright on them.
That's right.
Oh,
so tell me what's important about Garth of Izar. What's memorable about him?
He was Kurt's hero.
Yep. It's kind of crazy. What else about him?
He like set a standard with tactics against at the battle.
Right, on screen. He puts a fucking crown on his head.
Oh yeah.
He could shapeshift too.
That's right. He uses what's essentially at least in the Charmed universe, is like a glamour spell. It's almost that sort of thing. He doesn't quite shapeshift, but that he changes his appearance. He kills Marta, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So all this stuff happens. This guy is in one episode, and he's not memorable enough to have a copyright on him. I know you love this phrase, Nick, semantic shenanigans.
Nice.
I submit to you that Hamboyan, Hamboyan, a background character from Enterprise, was actually probably on screen more than Garth of Izar. And I will submit to you, I will stipulate that Hamboyan is not memorable, does not have a distinction, and should not have a copyright on him. But Garth of Izar, yeah, forget it. Nice try, Defense. Another one. Number 2. Oh, you're going to love this one. Saval.
What?
Shut up.
Saval is listed. You know how many
being
times...
a minor character and not copyrightable?
Right.
Please.
Right. Okay, first off, according to Memory Alpha, 11 appearances on screen, 4 additional mentionings off screen. You know, people might have said, I talked to Ambassador Saval. Plus, he's in both Mirror Universe episodes. And the Mirror Universe character is distinctive from the Prime Universe character. Now I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if Saval was not memorable, if Saval was generic and couldn't, and was like Jello to the wall that they couldn't nail down, why bother having the original actor reprise his role?
And here's the thing, if Saval wasn't memorable enough, why did Alan and I take a Star Trek cruise to go meet Gary Graham, who played the role?
And wasn't Saval also like mentioned in how many Enterprise novels? Like every single one?
Yeah.
Oh, but Mike, remember, CBS and Paramount haven't done anything in the last 10 years with Star Trek.
I thought it was 15.
They haven't done
15.
anything.
15,
you know,
yeah.
because that would mean that there would be Star Trek novels that made the New York Times bestseller list, which hasn't Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think that's a fiction we made up just for Dayton.
Oh.
So crazy.
Okay,
Now-
I'm sorry. Please
Okay,
continue.
the third one I can almost give to them. Richard Robaugh. Who's this guy?
Who? Robo?
You know what, though? I don't know, because the first 10 minutes of Star Trek 2009 were so good, and the guy has, there's, a whole following for him.
You mean the amazing role that I was pissed didn't last longer and was played by Farron Tahir?
That's right.
Mhm, that role,
That's right.
that dude.
Now, granted, he doesn't have a lot of time on screen. I'll give you that. You know, in terms of
Still
raw
one of the most
numbers.
heroic characters
But
in
wait
Star
a minute.
Trek.
Wasn't that within the last 10 years that was on screen?
Nick.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Interesting.
So all right, granted you don't really get into his head too much. You don't see his family life. You don't have the other stuff, but like you said, he is memorable. He's on the screen briefly, but you know who he is. Next one. This one I think I can give to them. John Gill. Do you know who that is?
He was the historian who told the planet that they needed to become like Nazis in order to survive.
Right.
Yep,
He's from
that's it.
Patterns of Force.
Yeah.
He's also very briefly references, according to Memory Alpha, he references the Prime Universe Jonathan Archer in the episode In a Mirror Darkly Part 2.
He's also...
Wasn't he also an animated series, I think?
No,
I
but
didn't
I'm
see him in
trying-
Memory Alpha.
I'm searching my mind. He might be... I might be misremembering this, but I thought he's in the Christopher Bennett DTI novels. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else.
That'd be fun, though.
That he's mentioned.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, I think we can stipulate this is a pretty minor character. If they want him, they can have him. I think that's considering this list, he's the least memorable of all of them.
But let me ask a question. Does it matter how big the character is? It's still copyrighted.
It is, but under the law, if the character's not distinguishable, it's a lot fuzzier. So because let's face it, this is an IP that's been around forever, and there are hundreds of characters. The ensign who's seen for 5 seconds in the background is not a memorable character, and that shouldn't be copyrighted, even if that role actually has a name.
All right, here's a question for you, and I'm asking this in 100% seriousness.
By that
Would
definition,
Mr. Leslie fall into that category? Because any Trek fan knows who Mr. Leslie is.
Yeah, it's the problem is this is not a bright line distinction.
It isn't? Okay. Because I would have a hard time thinking of just about this in Harry Potter terms. Just because just because Cornelius Fudge isn't seen all the time doesn't mean he isn't an important character. I would think that anything that's written in the book or anything that's written as a character, anybody that's written as a Star Trek character would be a copyrighted Star Trek character.
By that definition,
but I don't know. Yeah.
By the definition that Janet just suggested, the character that Kipley Brown plays would fall under that description.
No, she's
no.
She has a. I think she has a. Well, I mean, I think that they would try with Jane Taylor, but just like just like Kevin Riley, this is a character who's seen in like one episode or two episodes, and is the big guest star, has a lot of lines.
Yeah,
I think
she's the catalyst for that episode.
Yeah, that this is not just, like I said, just somebody sort of walking in the background. Next name on the list, Captain Robert April.
Oh, please. Seriously? They listed him as being not important enough to be copyrighted?
Yeah, he's only seen on screen in the TAS episode, the counterclock incident. However, he's also a part of the Captain to Captain trilogy. The first novel's coming out. It's by Greg Cox. It comes out in June of this year, folks.
And also April gets mentioned in the Legacy series as well, which is coming out as well.
Yeah,
also if you read like the Cushman books about the production of the original series, they also show a lot of documents of like when they came up with the original Bible of characters and everything. Robert April was the original captain, and there is extensive documentation about that character.
Alan, I got to say, in fairness to that, none of that made it to the screen.
Yeah, but it's still something that they had in their notes and their scripts and everything like that. To me, it's copyrightable.
And that paperwork is public record now. You can pick it up in books, and so it's still accessible information.
Well, the thing is, internal memoranda are kind of off the table for this. But so we don't care so much about the background stuff, but what we do care about is the on-screen appearance and the books, because those are those are all public documentation, and that's all we really need. We don't need any of the other background stuff. We have there's novels coming out. We have him on screen, and that's so. This is it's like I'm looking at this and saying, what the fuck are you talking about? The next one I think you're all going to really love. Chang, and I don't mean D. Chang, I mean Chang.
Oh, you mean like General Chang?
Yes.
You mean like Christopher Plummer?
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So beyond Axanar, beyond you and me. Okay. Think we're haters. Awesome. Go for it. You go, girl. It's very hard to forget a guy in alien makeup who's got a shaved head, spouts Shakespeare with abandon, basically chews the scenery, and has a fucking eye patch permanently screwed into his head.
He redefined Klingons.
Yeah, he did.
That's very hard to forget.
Yeah, he redefined Klingons and kind of sort of really established who they were in later series, like TNG especially.
Yeah, because he's a Khitomer conspirator. Now, understand that if this comes to trial, if it does, and it may not, but if it does, one of the things that may have to happen is the jury will probably be shown at least still images, if not some footage from these characters. And the minute they see this guy, they're going to, because, if you're a juror on this, you're not necessarily familiar with all the minutia, but, and you wouldn't be expected to rely on that anyway. It would be part of whatever case that they make. But you would look at this stuff and say, oh my God, this guy's got a thing. drilled into his skull. How could I forget what that is? Now, the next one makes me angry, and I know it makes a lot of people angry, and that's Sarek.
Are you kidding me?
Wait. Stop. Full stop, Ensign. They're claiming that Sarek is a minor,
non-copyrightable character.
I'm going to read to you what it means. Just give me a moment to get this out.
Spit on Mark Leonard's incredible work. It pisses me off more than anything because of... Please go, because I'm going to say something about how fucking dumb, Alec, you and your people are fucking dumb.
Nick. All right, go ahead, Janet.
I got to fight it, so vamp for a second.
Oh, honey.
All right, here it is. Here, plaintiff, this is page 21 of the second amended complaint. Second motion to dismiss. My apologies. It's under subsection 8. Characters plaintiffs have identified are not protected. The Ninth Circuit has explained that copyright protection is not available for, quote, every comic book, television, or motion picture character, end quote, only for those that are, quote, especially distinctive, end quote. DC Comics versus Toll, 802 Fed 3rd, 1012, Ninth Circuit, 2015. To meet this standard, a character must be, quote, sufficiently delineated, end quote, and display, quote, consistent, widely identifiable traits, end quote, ibid. Further, quote, characters that have been lightly sketched and lack descriptions may not merit copyright protection, end quote. For example, courts have held that James Bond, Batman, and Godzilla, I'll get to that in a moment, are characters protected by copyright. Here, plaintiffs have not plausibly alleged that any of the characters they claim to have been infringed, Garth of Izar, Saval, Richard Robaugh, John Gill, Captain Robert April, Chang, or Sarek meet the requirements for copyright protection because they have not set forth, quote, especially distinctive, end quote, and, quote, widely identifiable traits, end quote, of these characters that defendants have copied. None of these relatively minor characters are as distinctive as James Bond, Batman, or Godzilla because the characters named by plaintiffs cannot be associated with specific, consistently identifiable traits, and then they cite a case, Van Olsen versus National Broad Company, 855 Federal 2nd, 1446, 9th Circuit, 1998, which holds that minor characters are not protected by copyright. Ladies and gentlemen, I put it to you as follows. Forget your emotions for just a moment and let's be Vulcan for a second, okay? And yeah, I'm gonna get to the Vulcans in a moment.
I don't want to be Vulcan. You're Romulan.
But go emotionless for just a moment, please.
All right, for you.
Beyond our feelings, okay? Here are the objective numbers. Sarek is mentioned or appears 17 times according to Memory Alpha, and that's just television. He is readily identifiable. There are also the 2 recent J.J. Abrams films and possibly the upcoming Star Trek Beyond film. There's even a ship named after him. Alterations in his behaviors and interpretation of the character are due to Mark Leonard's own aging process and his development as an actor. Furthermore, it's also due to the dramatic arc of the character losing his logic and becoming widowed for the first time, certainly, and being in a second marriage. And then Ben Cross's own interpretation of this same character is influenced, of course, by the plot, which is where the character lives in an alternative reality where he became a widower at a much earlier age. The Memory Alpha article on him is really extensive. There's lots of information on this. This is not E. Hamboyan. This is not a major character, I'll give you that. This guy's not a star. But he is known. He's in more than one series, and he's in the movie. He's actually an IP shared by both plaintiffs here because he belongs to both of them. And he's also beloved. If you do not know who fucking Sarek is, I hate the expression true Trek fan. But if you do not know who fucking Sarek is and you think that he's not distinguishable, then I put it to you, folks, that you're not a fucking true Star Trek fan.
Huh.
There's only an episode titled Sarek.
Hold on a second. Before you guys, seem to be experiencing some transmission issues.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, but the numbers going out from here seems very strong. 131, 121 kilobits per second. I mean, there shouldn't be dropouts. I'm not saying... I don't know what's going on. It's got to be something with the players. I'm really sorry.
Okay. So yeah, I'm getting strong read here. And I wasn't sure if there was anything with maybe the broadcast broadband on your side, Mike.
It was God face palming.
Yeah, no shit. We're good.
Like I said, it's leaving here strong, at least from my end. I don't know if something's happening after it leaves me, but going out, it's going out strong. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'll look into it.
Is it the web audio player that most of these people are using?
Well, someone said that they had to refresh Winamp as well, so that's odd.
Okay, yeah, it is odd. Sorry, guys. We do appreciate your patience.
But sorry about that.
All right. So to pick up where we were.
Yeah, there's an episode titled Sarek.
Yes, and nobody has to explain who he is. That's the kicker too, is that you don't get this previously on Star Trek, at least not for that one. It's immediate. Everybody knows who this character is. He's not as universally known by laymen as Spock. I'll give you that. Absolutely. That's true. Point taken. But this is not a black and white issue where you're either major or you're nothing.
There's Mr. D'Onofrio in the chat room says, well, if you're a new fan, you don't know any of these characters. That's true, but that doesn't make these characters any less important. I mean,
I would argue something.
Hold on. Let me finish, dude. And that is, I'm going to make the same argument using a different IP. There are IPs out there that I don't know anything about, that I don't follow. And I can pretty much guarantee that there's probably a mid-level character that the fans of those shows would say, oh my God, how could you say that person isn't copyrightable? I mean, if you take into the Harry Potter, if you don't know anything about Harry Potter and you don't know who Mrs. Weasley is, that's okay because you don't know the genre, you don't know the IP. But I can pretty much tell you that every Harry Potter fan who's read the books and who watches the movies knows who Mrs. Weasley is. That's what this is like.
Exactly. That there's a distinctiveness to her. My Little Pony. Okay, I know the name Pinkie Pie, and after that, I'm kind of stumped. All right, but there are other characters. All right, if they are considered to be
Pinkie Pie,
yes. If they are considered distinctive, then they're distinctive. Just because I'm personally not familiar, or a jury is personally not familiar, and they'd probably be looking for people who aren't familiar.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they're not distinctive. Because let me tell you, anybody can go to a movie or watch a television program for the first time ever and look on the screen and say, wow, look at that brunette. Or, what an amazing character that is. Or, damn, that older guy, what a great actor he is. And you don't have to know who they are. But and you don't even have to know them by name, but they're still distinctive. And the other thing is, by the way, and as you saw in the second motion to dismiss, Godzilla has been adjudicated to be a memorable and distinctive enough character. This is a guy in a rubber dinosaur suit or CGI.
Yeah. Hold on.
If
you can say whatever you want about Axanar, but I will not put up with you bad-mouthing Godzilla.
She wasn't.
But if
she was saying he was distinctive.
If Godzilla, who doesn't even have lines, is distinctive enough, then why isn't Sarek?
Well, why isn't
Richard Roba? I'm sorry?
I was going to say to D'Onofrio that he says new fans. Well, I'll just say this. If the new fans were brought in by the JJ films, which so many have been, that actually doesn't work because Sarek was important in both movies.
And they'll know who Roba is also.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's not about knowing the name. It's not about, being somebody who knows like all the minutia. It's a matter of looking at this character on a screen and in the books and in the aggregate of the IP. This is the other thing that the defense keeps trying to do. Is the defense wants to split this down into the atom, okay?
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. If you get enough oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, iron, probably a bunch of other stuff, put it into the right proportions, mix it all up together in the proper way, you'll get a copy of me, right?
How do I do that?
I'll give you the recipe later.
Thank you.
At matzo balls. But anyway, but you can. You could conceivably, or you could rearrange that stuff and make a tractor.
True.
It's a similar kind of concept. These tiny little elements aren't copyrightable. These tiny little bits of a curve or a cowl neck on a costume, or a shade of makeup, or or a mountain in the background of a set, or something like that. Those things, you're right. Point taken. Those specifically are not copyrightable. But when you put them all together, when you aggregate them, somebody was asking this on Facebook today. They were asking, what does it mean for something to be Star Trek? What does it really mean? People were talking about philosophy, and they're talking about Gene Roddenberry and whatnot. And I'm with you. But the thing is, it's really about stylistic choices. We look at Trek and we know that it's Trek because we can see from the way that the effects are done, or the way that the makeup is done and stuff like that. And of course, a lot of this has evolved over time because technology has evolved over time. We have much better looking and more realistic looking Andorians because we have the mechanisms now to make the antennae move, and it looks much better than it did in TOS. But that doesn't mean that the TOS Andorians stop being Andorians. And it doesn't mean that the ENT Andorians aren't Andorians either. It just means that the makeup has evolved. Similar kind of thing with the Klingons, is that the makeup and the prosthetics had all evolved. It doesn't stop being an IP.
You could have argued in 1979, maybe, because the Klingons looked so different in the motion picture, at the very first scenes of the motion picture. But even that's gone out the wayside.
Yeah, Bobsled 624 in the chat room asks, I wonder if they would class Crewman Daniels as minor, and by their standards, I bet they would, except that he's one of the levers
character
that drives the plot.
Right. He's a crux character. As much as he annoys me when he shows up, because I know that the only reason he annoys me when he shows up is because I know we're going to deal with the time.
Temple Cold War.
Temple Cold War, and which, to be honest with you, I'm actually finding more and more fun in Star Trek Online now. But I don't know. I one of the things that frustrates me as well is this kind of weird argument that not just the secondary character bullshit, because this is what I'm so angry about it, but is this idea that you guys. What would happen if it was every time I look at it, what if it was Star Wars? What if it was Harry Potter? What if it was The Fifth Element? I'm sorry, but that's a whole different
their
thing.
arguments are that none of this is important, so that's why they should get to make the movie. If it's not important, why do you want to make the movie?
Exactly. Why is it so important to you that you're copying it so carefully, like a bunch of monks copying the New Testament and illuminating a manuscript? If it didn't matter to you, then why not change it? Why not do something different? Why? Because donors wouldn't have opened up their wallets.
That's exactly right.
Now, I love the fact that Spock is on the screen, because I'm going to put something up here in a moment.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry that's on its side.
Nosferatu. Oh my God!
I'm sorry it's on its side, but that's because that's the way it was in the motion. They are claiming that pointed ears are not unique to Vulcans. They're in elves.
True.
They're in vampires. They're
True.
in werewolves and fairies and pixies and whatnot and all that other crap. And they showed this picture. This is Max Schreck in Nosferatu. By the way, fun fact, folks, Nosferatu was supposed to be all destroyed, and all copies except for one were destroyed. You want to know why? Because
I know.
Bram Stoker's widow sued because it was an IP infringement. Yes, really.
I read that article, Janet. Oh my God, what an amazing story about that movie and what it all went through, and how, had that one copy not survived, the whole vampire film genre may not even exist.
But
I don't argue that Nosferatu is a classic, because it is. It absolutely is. Let's not compare Axanar to Nosferatu. It's not. The only reason that the two can be mentioned together is because they're both actually made with cameras.
Yeah.
Better dialogue in Nosferatu.
Yeah, it's a silent film, but
Thank you. I'm glad you knew that.
Be that as it may, there's clearly a difference here, and I know that we had talked about this before, because I was actually re-listening to some stuff from before about how elf ears curve back and they look different, because they do. All of this stuff is different. It's and beyond all of this, it's not that it's pointed ears that make a Vulcan.
Correct.
What makes a Vulcan?
Okay, everybody, what makes a Vulcan?
That would be when a male Vulcan and a female Vulcan, when there's Ponfar, and they. What? Oh, you meant esoterically.
What's this? Just one quick characteristic of a Vulcan. Everybody say something different, okay? Go.
Suppression of emotion.
There's two. Mike, you got one?
I'm sorry.
He's trying to figure this streaming out.
Kujiro, do you have one?
Logic.
Okay.
And the need to procreate once every 7 years.
Green blood. There's another one.
Oh, same brain.
Okay. How about a naming convention which has admittedly been broken? Naming convention for men.
In the originals, all the men had S and all the females had T at the beginning.
T apostrophe usually too.
Yeah.
Right. So all of this stuff, and they come from the planet Vulcan. They've got a third eyelid, right? Their heart's on a different side, right?
Yeah.
All of this stuff.
And Vulcan itself is supposed to be what? Etta Eridani?
Mind melds. Neck pinches. Kirsharas.
Idic.
Thank you.
One of the founding members of the Federation.
Yeah.
What is greenish tint skin for 200, Alex?
Yeah. So we just spent a couple of minutes, and we were able to come up with a bunch of characteristics of Vulcans that had nothing to do with their fucking ears. So if they even all had plastic surgery and they suddenly didn't have pointed ears, they'd still be recognizable Vulcans.
Yeah. Lurpas.
Yeah, Lurpas. Thank you. Lurpas. That's awesome. Perfect.
Anwoon.
Thank you. The
Purple Lurpa.
Anwoon.
Purple Lurpa.
That's
going back.
Start on the purple Lurpa. Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, pulled that one out of my ass.
We have all of this stuff. It's clear. It's obvious. You don't need to be a really rabid fan to know almost all of that.
Right.
And it's what we had said before. They said that, Sarek and all those others weren't distinctive. Well, we just proved it was fucking distinctive.
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
Live long and prosper goes with it. They're greedy and everything about them. They are a unique and fuck those people who want to even say that they want to defend that they're not. I find that repulsive. And just
repugnant.
Totally repugnant. The idea that they're using this as a defense by saying, well, they're not special enough and we'd be able to steal them if we want. And that's what I think that they're doing. And now they're just pissing me off. How insulting. How truly insulting to all Star Trek fans, including themselves. It's like, you will do anything to get out of this. Why don't you guys just shut the fuck down, get it over with, because that's what CBS wants out of this. You guys fucked up, and oh god damn you, stupid idiots, stupids.
Let me give you one more, okay? Before I stop this, before we all go nuts.
I just spit my coffee.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That's perfect. Starbucks 54. That's fucking perfect. That's awesome.
Oh, that was awesome.
It's Voldemort.
Huh? Did you see
it's
it?
It's Voldemort.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Right? Couldn't you claim?
So
if you look
funny.
at that real quick, when you say,
"Oh
wait, that's Voldemort," because he's bald and he's got the penetrating eyes, and
keep it. I want to see I want to hear what she has to say.
Right.
Okay. Now here's the last one I want to do because it's taken a while, and a lot of this stuff is in the blogs. So if you don't get it, or you can't quite hear me, or if the sound's cutting out, it's in writing. So don't worry about it, folks. Now the other thing they're doing is they're comparing phasers to the heat ray weapons that are in War of the Worlds. Now, sorry, gentle readers, gentle listeners. Phasers are not the same as heat ray weapons, folks. According to Memory Alpha, all right, Memory Alpha says, the phaser beam, this is a quote directly from them, the phaser beam could stun, heat, kill, or disintegrate living creatures. Phasers could damage shields or other systems, or even cut through a hull. Phasers could also be used to cut through walls and burrow through rock. The beam could be focused to a single spot or widened to impact a large area. End quote. Now I'm going to quote to you from Chapter 5 of War of the Worlds, the classic by H.G. Wells. This work, I might add, ladies and gentlemen, is in the public domain. Therefore, it can be copied at will. And since we are reporting on it, we're under fair use anyway. According to Chapter 5, end quote, open quotes, slowly a humped shape rose out of the pit, and the ghost of a beam of light seemed to flicker out from it. Forthwith, flashes of actual flame, a bright glare leaping from one to another, sprang from the scattered group of men. It was as if some invisible jet impinged upon them and flashed into white flame. It was as if each man were suddenly and momentarily turned to fire. Then, by the light of their own destruction, I saw them staggering and falling, and their supporters turning to run. I stood staring, not yet realizing that this was death leaping from man to man in that little distant crowd. All I felt was that it was something very strange, an almost noiseless and blinding flash of light, and a man fell headlong and lay still, and as the unseen shaft of heat passed over them, pine trees burst into fire, and every dry furze bush became with one dull thud a mass of flames. End quote. Now, the War of the Worlds weaponry is not only solely heat-based, but its effects seem to pass from person to person and from pine tree to furze bush. Neither of those characteristics are true of this copyrighted aspect of the whole of Star Trek, a constituent element which is not in the public fucking domain. Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off. So if you want to keep going, you tell me, because I was going to ask.
No, I'm good.
Yes,
because
you're good, because
we have so much on this, and it's in writing.
One of the and kind of in that big picture kind of thing, pulling back from the repugnancy of the arguments. Is this? I'm seeing this as now. As a valiant attempt, and I do mean that as a valiant. I do mean that they are trying very, very hard to what I now see as keep the litigation rolling and stalling. I just see this as a huge stalling effort. Not because I don't think that they want to defend them. I think that they're trying very hard to put up a defense that is ludicrous, but it's still a defense. But I see themselves as stalling in order to do something else. And in the background, I'm hearing shit, not unlike what we had talked about last week, and the week before, which was this idea that Alec is now looking for secret investors to offload liabilities, meaning a bunch of money that in order to keep the studio.
Yes. I it feels very much like a stalling tactic. Now understand that this argument, while it's of course crafted by Winston and Strawn, and there's nothing wrong with this argument being made by them. I think it's ludicrous, but there's nothing ethically wrong with it. Because somebody asked me, where does an ethical line get drawn?
There's nothing unethical about this. It's just a legal argument.
Yeah, exactly. And we may think it's a lousy argument, but hey, weirder stuff has prevailed.
Absolutely.
So but it becomes ethically problematic if they are lied to by their client, they repeat that lie, and they know it's a lie. Then it's a problem. But things that are open to interpretation are a much grayer area. So I don't want to go down that path. I think that Winston and Strawn is behaving very ethically. I think that's not a problem here. But I do want to point that out to people. I don't want people to think that that's an issue here, because it isn't. And Yeah, but the other thing is they are making this defense. They're making the best possible defense that they can, which is required by ethics. And they have to do what their client tells them to do. And if their client is saying, I ain't settling, I'm not settling, screw you, I'm going, I'm going in deep and we're taking this to the end. Well, they kind of have to go along with that or quit.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they... Oh, shit, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on.
No, I hate that. I really do. I get so beefed about this.
Something that they argued in this one, too.
Well, I know what they're trying to do, and that is they're from our perspective as Star Trek fans, they're grasping at straws. And I know that D'Onofrio in the chat room has made the argument over and over again. Well, what if you're not a Star Trek fan? Well, the fact of the matter is, this lawsuit's not about you. I mean, the general public doesn't give a shit about an IP they don't give a shit about. The fact of the matter is, this has everything to do with the IP holder. This is the copyright holder's problem, and that's who cares. One of the arguments that I had heard from Axanar fans on Twitter was, "Oh, look at Disney." I swear to God, somebody posted a picture or a video of. It was a Star Wars fan film, and they were like, "See, Disney's not doing anything about this." And I thought to myself, I'll tell you, I can guarantee you that Disney would not suffer a fan film producer going out, getting Kickstarter and Indiegogo money, getting a $1.1 million, and then creating a studio to make other Star Wars films.
They also wouldn't want somebody claiming that they were making independent Star Wars. And I think that's one of the key issues here as well.
I don't think that you guys would understand that Hellfire is the least of what that production would suffer. And you want to know how tight Disney is with its IP? They have no problem in suing nursery schools for painting Disney characters on the walls. And I'm not kidding.
Yeah. It's
don't
enormous.
give me that shit that Disney is okay with fan films.
Isn't Disney currently suing a costume company in New York
for making Star Trek character costumes for rent?
Disney
characters.
Disney characters. That's the thing is also just. I realize that some people may not be familiar with the minutiae and or how a phaser works or whatever, but that's part of discovery. That's the kind of thing that will come out. You understand that the jury doesn't have to wreck their brains to try to figure this stuff out.
Right.
They don't need to know the difference between Kittimer and a Cardassian. They will be told that in discovery, that the documents will be brought up. People will be deposed. They might be given stuff that they have to view. Whatever it is, however it gets proven, it will be put out there. These are just preliminary documents, folks. If you go into discovery, it's probably going to be a truckload of stuff. I've been involved in cases where there was a case that had its own office because it was so huge. Fortunately, a lot of this stuff is electronic, and so it's not quite like that anymore. But you're going to see a garbage can full of data here. Could this go to a jury trial? It's possible. I would say much more likely it'll be settled beforehand, only because a good 90% or so of all cases are settled beforehand. But CBS and Paramount have asked for a jury if it does go that far.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Jesus Christ.
Did it go out of your head again?
Well, I thought, and Janet started, and I thought just as she started, so I was waiting, and then
okay.
It was something fuck!
Take notes.
He's tired.
Sorry.
Well, it's very interesting. Yes, the question did come up in the chat room. CBS asked and did request a jury trial in their initial complaint. And that is exactly what they're aiming for. So all of the discovery, again, which hasn't even begun, and we're getting, I think the scheduling, didn't the pretrial conference, the scheduling hearing isn't until May
9th, and that is when this motion is also going to be heard. So that's shaping up to be an important day.
Well, that also gives, now mind you, CBS still has the opportunity to reply to the motion to dismiss. and it'll be what's called an opposition.
If they do that, they are on deadline, and they're going to have to do it soon. It would be at the beginning of this week.
Right. Or they'll just amend the complaint again. You have to respond to the motion to dismiss.
I think at a certain point they're going to not have any bites of that apple left.
Yeah. Well, I would think, the judge would probably not tolerate another one. You never know. He's pretty, I don't know. He has a history of being pretty. He doesn't like to waste time. He really doesn't. But one never knows. I mean, he doesn't require bluebacks anymore, so that's a big thing. I'm still stunned by that, to be honest with you. So CBS has the opportunity to do what's called an opposition to the motion to dismiss, which would then give the other side, Axanar, another few days to do what's called a reply to the opposition. And that's usually how it's done. It's a set of three. A dispositive motion first, opposition, reply to the op, and then a hearing is held. So it's kind of interesting that those two items may not be required.
One thing I also want to throw out here is that this is all about facts.
Right.
And these motions actually tend to be, the idea behind a motion to dismiss is that if everything that the plaintiff says is a fact, is true, but the motion says, but this still shouldn't fly. That's kind of where we're coming from here. If these are all questions of fact, this may very well end up being denied because the judge may be looking at this and saying, this is trier of fact problems, and this is discovery stuff that's going to come out later. Now, the stuff about how they are trying to slant the facts, that is coming out in the next blog post, which will be out on the 5th.
Oh, cool.
So I urge you, I hope you will read it. Thank you very much. I didn't want to kind of repeat myself here because we're already running very long. But it is in writing, and it's also in case there's anything that's difficult for you to hear. It's all going to be in writing, so you will get that there, and you can certainly follow it along there. If you have questions, please feel free to comment. Ask me whatever you like. I do have homework, though, folks. But
She'll get to you when she can.
Yeah, I'll get to you when I can.
I really like someone from Axanar to honestly answer the question. If all of this is so unimportant that it's meaningless, as they're saying, then why are you wanting to make this movie?
And why are you copying it with such reverence and care?
Good question. And one last tidy little thing that I wanted to touch on real quick is that you use the term trier of fact. In this case, I wanted everybody to understand that the trier of fact in this case, believe it or not, is not the judge. The trier of fact in this case will be the jury. And it's up to
believe it.
And what was it?
You better believe it.
Yeah. So the judges will act. The judge will act and acts kind of like a referee as to what is legal and what can be put in front of the trier of fact. And those are what the motions are all about, is what can be put in front of the trier of fact. There's another little thing called a motion for summary judgment that can be done in civil cases like this, which says, which probably would never be able to get done because there's so much shit that can be put in front of a trier of fact in this case, that says, look, the facts are so clean and so our defense is so tight that we think you, judge, can tell us there's nothing here that's worthy of putting in front of a jury. So if you're hearing rumors that they're going to be doing a motion for summary judgment, I can pretty much tell you that would never happen. They're really going through a big defense here. And what they're doing is they're trying to strike pieces of the complaint, and they're trying to whittle it down so the arguments are more focused. And yes, they're trying to get the whole case thrown out, but I can pretty much tell you from reading this motion to dismiss, they're really just hoping that they can whittle it down and therefore focus on a few items as opposed to the bigger whole. Not sure how it will fall out, but it'll be very interesting to see what CBS does. So
yes, and stay tuned. We will have it.
Awesome. Okay, that is it for the Axanar stuff. We did want to say, for this week at least.
Aren't you glad you got out of law?
I'm so sorry. I apologize to Janice every week.
Hey, she took this on herself.
I don't mind.
Poor Miss Janet.
I'm having fun. I am enjoying it.
Oh, cool.
By the way, there are 2 interviews with Axanar. Can we put those into the show notes rather than talk about them, just so people can listen and draw their own conclusions?
Sure. Absolutely. And draw their own conclusions. Yeah, that's a perfect way of saying it.
Do you have the links to those?
I'll send you an email. Okay.
Sweet. All right. Now,
Sounded like Stewie Griffin.
Believe it or not, we actually have a 50 for 50. Yay!
What's your favorite episode? GNT shows 50 for 50.
Oh, we're not done? Okay.
Mr. Late Boy.
Oh my God, late this.
You screw me over when you promised that you wouldn't. How trustworthy are you, you poo-poo head?
What?
All right. But the April 1st joke, that was sweet. You swore to me that it wasn't going to be doing that. How am I supposed to believe you ever again? Dick. Okay.
You know why she's upset, people? Because it was so expertly executed. And, might I add, it was Kevin and Dayton that were
You know what? It was Kevin
the biggest
that did it.
line of
It was
bullshit.
fucking Kevin. If Kevin, let me put it to you, I have to say, if Kevin wasn't there, I may not have bought it as heavily. I may not have.
Kevin,
definitely
at one
sold
point,
it.
when he was talking about the Dalai Lama and shit, I messaged
But apparently
him and I
that
was
was real.
I know, but I was like, what the hell is he talking about?
Oh my God, too funny. Too funny. Well, we do have a 50 for 50. This week, we are going to be discussing Alan.
Yes, you're going to be
We're
discussing me.
Alan? Okay.
Yes,
No,
you're discussing me.
He's lovable.
He is.
He's
Aw, thank
He has a
you.
nice beard.
The feeling is mucho. Yeah, we have we're into the top 20 now. The episodes, we're going to discuss these both together because, as we pointed out last week, this is the only time in the survey where the 2 are actually sequential episodes in their production as well. Number 19, DS9, Season 5, Episode 14, In Purgatory's Shadow. And number 20, DS9, Season 5, Episode 15, By Inferno's Light. It's actually a 2-parter. And just to remind you how the story goes, it starts off with the war, the Dominion War, starting to loom larger and larger. There's been breakdowns between all of the Federation, different factions, and a transmission is detected coming from the Delta Quadrant, and they use Garrick to try to decipher it, who comes back and says, well, you know, I can't figure this out. I don't know what it is. But in reality, what it is he got a message from Tane, who we talked about last week in the episode where he disappears in the Delta Quadrant, that it's possible that he's still alive. And so Garrick wants to go on a reconnaissance rescue mission, and the doctor figures it out and busts him to Cisco. And basically what happens is they are they are ordered not to go to the Delta Quadrant, but they do anyway to investigate. And what they discover is there's an invasion fleet ready to come across, and they get captured. So start discussing. What do you guys think about this episode? That was the premise.
We watched these 2 episodes together at the end of last week.
Right.
And I forgot entirely that they kind of came on the heels of the episode we had talked about last week.
Right. It's a reference to, actually, they're not very close, because I think the episode we discussed last week was actually from season 3.
Right.
But it's a go back, because what happens is when they get captured, they end up in a prison, a Dominion prison, and they find Tane, they find Martok. They find out that Julian is actually there, and that the Julian that we saw earlier in the episode is actually an imposter, a changeling.
Right.
So now we know that there's
we know there's a changeling on DS9.
Well, it goes to display now that there's infiltration, that nobody can be who they possibly could be. I mean, this is where the story really takes off, I think, as far as the Dominion War, because we see that aspect of it. We also know there's an invasion coming. And then, of course, when the invasion actually comes through, what happens? They don't attack. They go to Cardassia, and we find out that the new head of the Cardassian Empire is Gul Dukat, and that they're now a part of the Dominion. And that's a huge shift in the story, the plot, and pretty much what puts us into the story arc for the rest of the series. Would you not agree?
Yeah. Well, with the whole idea of all of the Dominion ships coming through the wormhole, and then you find out that they're heading towards Cardassian space, and then you get the note for you see Gul Dukat coming in going, oh yeah, well, we're part of the Dominion now. It was like, oh, it was a huge oh shit moment.
Right. Which Dukat is good at having. I mean, how many times have we had oh shit moments with Dukat through the entire series? I mean, talk about a great villain.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the few villains in Trek where week to week he could be a good guy, a bad guy, an indifferent guy. You think he might be coming around, and then he lulls you in, and then he turns out to be just as evil as always, and then it's something new, constantly. It was just, I mean, and this is where we see just another incident of Dukat and his crap,
Nick, do you want to pipe in?
There's so much. This whole sequence of DS9 adds so much texture to not just DS9 but the entire Trek universe.
Yeah.
In what are personal stories in some ways are also so overarching for just opening up the Trek universe.
Oh, sure. We another part we see here is the relationship between Dukat's daughter and Garrick. And then we see the reaction from Dukat on that. I mean, so much character going on right here, character development, character interaction. And that is one of the great things that I think that does make DS9 such a great series is besides the science fiction and the fun and the story and the overall thing, we have such rich characters that just continue to develop and change and interact. And, there's a lot of character development with Garrick in this because he has the interaction with Lyle. Is that how her name's pronounced? I can't remember now.
Zial.
I'm sorry, I got her mixed up with somebody else. Zial. And then
with Lyle Alzado.
Yes, that was it. The lesser known episode that's lower down on the list. But also his reaction when he finds Tane in the prison, and Tane is just a prick, and
having something come out that Garrick's.
You can say it.
His claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many issues.
Yes, very interesting with that. There's just so many interactions.
Here's what it comes down to, and this is for people that want a primer on writing. Okay, take away Cardassian makeup and Bajoran makeup and all of that. Just strip all of that out. You make them all human and put them in here on Earth in the 1800s. Wow. This all still works. The characterizations and everything still work.
Because it's about the characters. Characters are the important part. And plot devices are ways that we can just see these characters interact. That's what started to happen here in DS9 and made it just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
We got the war, and so some aspect of the war is going to happen and we have a plot. But how are these characters going to interact and react and everything? You really started to care deeply about them.
And so much so that you also find out not only, I mean, you in these two episodes, you really do get to find out how truly despicable Dukat is, because he's willing to forego and let his own daughter die.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, he knows
pretty much just shuns her.
Well, he also knows the invasion fleet isn't for real, too, to come attack the base. So to some extent, he knows that they're not coming to do that. So he can show that without having to have that real jeopardy, because we do find out later on how much he does care about his daughter. When she's killed,
that's the tipping point.
Yeah. So again, and again, as I mentioned earlier, Dukat is such a rich character because every time you think that he might have a little bit of for lack of a better term, humanity or something like that, where he interacts with another character, and then he just turns out to be it's another one of his machinations.
Who didn't have sympathy for him when he was the lone wolf in the stolen bird of prey running behind the lines?
Right. Exactly.
I loved these 2 episodes just because again, it was kind of nice to be watching DS9 again, but Garrick is also my favorite character, and to see him, so we're getting Garrick stories here. We're finding out what's going on with. It was so complex. You find out that Bashir on the station isn't the real Bashir, and then Martok.
Oh yeah, the whole Worf and Martok reaction, because this is where we see Worf and Martok bond. And that has
Worf
long-reaching.
Keeps getting his ass kicked by the Jem'Hadar, but he still goes through it. He ends up being more Klingon than.
And there's that
Klingon.
fun little moment with that Breen.
Oh yeah,
God!
Never turn your back on a Breen.
Never turn your back on a Breen.
But but this is the beginning of the Worf Martok relationship that eventually has some long-reaching ramifications in the universe. So. It was great. Even Bashir had some great moments too. I mean, as a prisoner of this prisoner of war,
Bashir?
The real Bashir, as a prisoner,
the prisoner Bashir.
Bashir again is one of those characters that early on you were like, oh God, what's going on with this guy, and had such rich development through the entire series. And this is another one of those ones where you find out that he's more than just what he seemed to be at the beginning. His character growth through the series is one of the biggest arcs, I think, in the entire series.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the beginning, I thought I kind of dismissed him a little bit,
and you should see what happens.
He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
So,
and seriously, you should see what happens to him in the books. It's
and that's like Nog, the character growth of Nog.
Oh, that's true too. Nog has incredible character growth.
Or even Rom, who was just supposed to be this background character, and winds up the Nagus.
Yeah, and same with Lita.
Well, there you go. It just shows over and over again why DS9 is such a great series, and
why sometimes little known and secondary characters are so fucking important.
Well, you go.
Is Brunt not recognizable enough?
Brunt.
FCA.
Or Morn, for that matter. Morn.
No, never had
I will fight you. I will fight you, woman.
Now that is
awesome. We'll sell tickets.
That is a background character that has enriched and become so much more, and yet never spoke a word.
It's like Mr. Hom.
Yes.
It's like what?
Mr. Hom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these 2 episodes were pivotal in so many ways. I mean, this is I want to say it's the opening. It's a shot across the bow.
Yes.
It's the opening moment of the hell that's about to be unleashed on the Alpha and Beta quadrants.
Yes.
I mean, here we have the Cardassians welcoming this.
Major force.
I mean, it's kind of.
Take a breath, Mike.
Would you almost compare it to like France during World War II? The Germans coming in.
No, France did not welcome.
It wasn't willing. Okay, so that would be the difference.
No, they were invaded, Mike.
Yeah, they were conquered.
People can say what they want about the French, but they just got rolled by a better army. Is what happened. Yeah. Actually, by better leaders.
Okay. Well, still,
you could argue Austria, maybe.
Okay. Well, here's.
Am I right, Janet?
Yeah, I think so. Austria was a lot more was welcoming.
Okay. Well, here the point is here's this secondary, tertiary power in the quadrant. Okay, not really a contender in compared to some of the bigger boys. Inviting this snake into their midst just in order to get an upper hand, just to try to give them that little extra push to get them to the next level, to maybe get people to take them a little more seriously. I mean, the hubris in Gul Dukat to push for this and to condone this. I mean, it's just.
Well,
wow.
It had everything to do with pride.
Yeah.
Really, he did it. He even lays out the reasons why he did it, and that was Cardassia was a major power and lost that power. And what happens to a society that loses.
I don't know. Can we look to any place in the 20s and 30s for an example?
Oh, like Germany after World War One,
where they were humiliated in the Treaty of Versailles, and then look what happened 20 years later.
The rise of Hitler.
Treaty of Versailles, not Paris. Sorry.
Right. And
Treaty of Paris ended the revolution.
The revolution, yeah. Sorry, I've been reading about Adams.
Good for you. So, yeah, it's all about that, and indicative of that pride, and a group of people that are looking for ways to reignite that fire and reignite that pride will allow snakes into the hen house if it makes them feel like they're going to get something from it, right? So that's what Dukat does in this, is he sees a method by which they could make themselves quote unquote great again, and invites the snakes in and really does, and I think makes his fatal flaw, of course, is he believes that that's what's going to happen.
He believes his own propaganda.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is Michael Hayes has always said, and for writers this is important, the bad guy has to believe that what they're doing is the right thing.
Yep.
Dukat legitimately believes. By the way, Michael Hayes, for those don't know, is a pro wrestler who can talk psychology all day long, because he was, when you've been stabbed and had guns pulled on you because of what your character did, you're doing something right. But Dukat legitimately believes that he's doing the right thing for Cardassia. Yep. It's not like, oh, I'm just doing. It's not like, I want to watch the IP burn because I can't play with it anymore.
Well, the thing with Dukat is that he is assessing the situation, and he thinks that the Dominion can't be defeated. So it's one of those, I better be on the right side of this war. And that's the deal with the devil that he makes.
Yeah, but he's also sitting in his own...
But he doesn't know it.
He doesn't see it that way, Mike. He just sees it as, this is going to raise Cardassia.
Yes, but...
And then...
what obviously what ends up happening, and for good reason, is the major problems in the quadrant, the Klingons, the Romulans, the Federation, they now have their attention all on you.
Yes, but I also would say that I bet you anything that Dukat's character doesn't see this as any. I think he is so prideful, and he believes himself so undefeatable that I would see him as saying, I don't think he trusted the Dominion. I don't think that he trusted them for anything. I just think he thought himself smart enough to actually outdo them. That I'll bring them in, but I'll control them. I'll be able to control them, I think he thought himself sneaky enough to do that, and he was outdone.
Because he was blinded by some other passions where the Dominion didn't have that. The Dominion was very, very clear-headed.
Yes.
Very, very analytical on what they were doing, where Dukat is a creature of emotion.
And the Paw Wraith, but we don't know that until later.
Off topic, but refresh my memory. Before this pair of episodes, we had a Cisco episode where he had his vision. He had his, the prophets had come to him, and where he was. I think it was the one with the painting. And he was analyzing the spire, trying to find that lost city. I believe that came before, and he kind of sort of predicted, the swarm of locusts, and then all of a sudden, coming out of the wormhole is all the Jem'Hadar ships, which conveniently look like locusts. But I thought, again, some foreshadowing for what was coming in this pair of episodes is, in the prophets, they don't play a very big part in this episode, but later on, especially during the war, we see a lot more of their influence, and how their relationship with Bajor forces Dukat to seek their enemies, and why he eventually, especially after Zial's death, basically, gives into the dark side, goes over to the Pa Wraith in order to kind of another one of those alliances, where an alliance of convenience for him.
The prophets are a great also example of how to use Deus Ex correctly.
Yes. Oh, I don't disagree.
So it just shows more of Dukat's character. How far is he willing to go? He's willing to throw it all away. Yeah. He wants to see the whole the whole quadrant burn if it means that he's on top.
That's exactly right, and it's all about him. This isn't about
he's a true tragic character. I mean, the hubris of his character.
He's totally Shakespearean, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, he is a character.
Kind of like Chang. Wait, can't use Chang.
Is that Shakespeare in the original Klingon?
It is Shakespeare in the original Klingon. Which, Janet, you didn't even bring up the whole Klingon language thing.
I know. I just wanted to stop already. But yeah. Is the language copyrightable? Maybe. That might actually turn out to be an issue, but I don't think that's going to fall in this case.
Well, at this point, it is copyrightable,
right,
according
exactly.
to...
As of now, it is.
Yeah.
So anybody else have anything to say on these two episodes?
If you haven't seen them, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They're definitely ones you should see if you're going to watch the rest of the series. So, well, I'll give you the list for next week. We are up to 18, and I have to say the episodes from here, oh god, my god. Well, of course, it's the best of the list. So, next week, number 18 is a DS9. Season 7, Episode 8, The Siege of AR-558.
Oh,
yeah.
Aaron.
Great episode. Oh, great episode. And then number 17 is a TNG, Season 2, Episode 9, Measure of a Man.
Wow.
Yeah. More courtroom fun.
Wait a minute. That seems low to me for these two episodes.
That tells you how good everything else is.
Actually, Siege is a lot higher than I would have thought people would have rated it.
Yeah, Measure of the Man. That's the one I'm really, really surprised about. I think that should have been a much closer to number one. Higher in the list.
Remember, they only have themselves to blame.
Yes,
that's
you
right.
only have yourselves to blame.
So
we've got to get some kind of
T-shirt
art. Yeah. GNT
transformative.
You only have yourself to blame.
You only have yourselves to blame.
Let's trademark it.
I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Oh, that's exactly right. Which is trademark. The next week, however, though, Kajiro, you will not be here.
I will not be available. No.
So we will discuss these without you.
I will not either.
Oh, you won't?
Mike, Al?
Yeah, go for it.
What's your favorite episode? GNT shows 50 for 50.
Yes, I will not be here next week. Next Friday, I'm getting married.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay.
This is not an April Fool's joke. This is not. I will be in Utah next week getting married on Friday.
To whom?
We'll talk after.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Janet, to whom?
Well, because the wedding blog, I want to know if we're covering it.
The wedding blog.
She writing blog.
Oh, no, you're not. Trust me, you're not covering it. I'm going to be in Utah, okay?
We have Utah stuff. It's rustic. You'll like it. It's industrial.
You'll like it.
Are you registered with ThinkGeek?
I'm registered with Spencer's.
Nice.
Good, I'll get you a whoopee cushion.
Well, do we want to put off these two episodes for the week after then?
I think that might be a good idea.
That might be helpful.
Yeah, give her a week's break. All right.
Need it.
So,
if
2 weeks from now,
I got to do that.
2 weeks from now, we'll pick up the 50 for 50 with the Siege at AR 558. Is it? I think it is.
Yes.
And Measure of a Man. Join us then. Any announcements before we tie things up?
Sure. A couple of BLB-ish things that we can talk about. The O Sports show should be debuting. They should have recorded their episode yesterday. So there should be an episode being their first
The
premiere
very
episode.
first O Sports show. Very cool.
Very, very soon.
And very nice on the Final Four weekend.
So looking forward to hearing that. Gates of Stovecore and Blood of the Near, some new character concept art for the characters of David and Tamak have been posted. That surprised me, but yeah, so check them out. They're cool. The Dayton Ward Kevin Dillmore interview is on our site, as well as the Axonar second defense motion to dismiss. So check those out as well. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Nick, you're not going to be at the show next week.
I will not.
All right, and we'll discuss. Janet, anything you want us to know about?
I'm graduating on the 14th of May. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Congratulations, you've been
And on the
working
15th,
so
I'm
hard.
retired.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
May is important.
What are you going to do with all this time you're going to end up with?
I'm going to start a Kickstarter with Alan.
We're going to do our Axonar fan film.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
for a
transformative.
moment there, I was hoping we were going to do a Kickstarter for Spock of Ages. Darn it!
I
want
didn't say
that.
we weren't.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, I think that pretty much does it for this week's episode. You can, I believe, join at least Mike and I next week for episode 332.
There may be belly
232.
dancing.
There may be what?
There may be belly dancing.
Yeah, there may be belly dancing. 232. I am going to be in Chicago this week on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It looks like I'll be able to hook up and talk with and give a hug to Jen Ucelis, the wonderful Klingon
lucky
pop
bastard.
warrior herself, as well as Andrew Wonders. So I look forward to seeing you guys this week, and I will take pictures and we'll discuss what we hopefully I'll bring the recording and maybe we'll do a little supplemental log we can play for the show.
Have her sing to you, please.
I think I shall. Okay, until next week, everybody, live long and prosper.
Kapla!
It's still transformative.
Hey, let's be careful out there.
Chill on true.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Grethor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to the end. G community. Double ego where no man's gone before. Face happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. They'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero G.